Hi there. I'm so glad you're here. Your time is precious. And because of that, I want to let you know right away what you'll gain by listening to the very last second of this episode. My conversation with Stephen Polera and Dr. Wendy Bunker highlighted why effective literacy instruction requires a strategic, data driven approach. In this bonus episode, I highlight how transformational change in education requires three essential elements. You'll learn why vulnerability in leadership drives real change, how understanding the why transforms resistance into advocacy, and why system wide alignment can multiply the impact of true transformation. Stay with me. I'm so happy to have you as a listener today. This is Solutions Coaching and Teaching Strategies, the podcast that extends education beyond the classroom. A show that offers educators and caregivers strategies to try right away and ensure every student receives the inspiration and support they need to thrive. Welcome back to Solutions. I'm Olivia Wall, and this is your Friday bonus episode where I reflect on the brilliant conversation we just had, Season 4, Episode 39. If you haven't listened to my interview with Stephen Polera and Dr. Wendy Bunker about Westmoreland's district-wide literacy implementation, pause this right now and go listen. Seriously, it's that good. I've been thinking about this conversation for days, and three things keep circling back that I believe every educator and leader needs to hear. So grab your coffee and settle in. The first thing that struck me was the raw honesty in Steve's voice when he described those cabinet meetings. I could close my eyes and picture the principals walking into a room, looking at their superintendent and saying, "We have a problem, a big one. Our kids aren't ready." And that takes courage. Too often in education, we get caught in what I call the everything's fine trap. We're so focused on maintaining appearances that we miss the red flags waving right in front of us. But Westmoreland's leadership team did something different. They named the problem out loud. Steve mentioned that by September and October, they were seeing massive numbers of kindergarten through second grade students already in intervention. Third graders were being referred to child study teams for reading support. These weren't small blips on the radar, these were alarm bells. And here's what I love. Instead of scrambling for quick fixes or pointing fingers, they asked themselves the hard question: are we actually producing strong readers? And the answer was no. And they said it out loud. If you're listening as a leader, whether you're a principal, superintendent, or teacher leader, I want you to think about this. What red flags are you seeing that you haven't named yet? What conversations have you maybe been avoiding? Because here's the truth. Vulnerability in leadership isn't weakness. It's the foundation of transformation. The second thing that captivated me was how beautifully Wendy explained the science of reading in under 3 minutes. I mean, seriously, go back and listen to that section. It's a masterclass in clarity. But here's what I want to dig into: the connection between understanding the why and having the courage to change. When Wendy talked about orthographic mapping, how our brains connect print, meaning, sound, and spelling, she wasn't just sharing research. She was giving teachers a framework to understand why some of their previous approaches weren't working. Think about it. If you've been teaching reading for years using certain methods, and suddenly you're told those methods aren't research-based, that can feel like professional whiplash. It can feel like criticism of everything you've done. But when you understand the science, when you see how the brain actually learns to read, suddenly it's not about you being wrong before. It's about you having new information now. That's the power of the why. It transforms defensiveness into curiosity. And I've seen this happen in coaching sessions countless times. We may initially resist a new approach, but once we understand the research behind it, and once we see how it connects to what our students need, we may actually become advocates. Wendy gave those teachers the gift of understanding. And that understanding became the fuel for change. But here's the third thing that absolutely lit me up about this conversation: the ripple effect they created through alignment. So listen to this carefully. They didn't just train the reading teachers. They brought in the writing teachers too. They included special education teachers. They involved everyone. And now, Wendy's hearing kids using decoding strategies during writing. She's seeing teachers apply phonics rules across the curriculum. The reading specialist isn't working in isolation. She's co-teaching. She's collaborating and planning together with teachers. This is what happens when you knock down silos. But here's what I really want you to think about. This wasn't accidental. This was so strategic. Westmoreland Central School, OHM BOCES, and all involved made intentional choices about who to include, how to structure the professional learning, and how to support implementation. They used data to decide where to focus. They calibrated their approach. They didn't just wing it. So if you're implementing any kind of change in your school or district, ask yourself, who else needs to be in the room? What other subjects or grade levels will be impacted? And how can you create alignment instead of isolated pockets of change? Because transformation doesn't happen in silos. It happens when the whole system moves together. Now, before we wrap up, I have to talk about the moment that made my heart sing. It was when Steve talked about his son being in 3rd grade and seeing the joy of reading back in his daily life. That's it. That's why we do this work. Not for test scores, not for compliance. We do this work for joy, for that moment when a child realizes they can read, when they choose books independently, when they smile walking into English class. Steve said it perfectly. It's nice to see them smile when they actually go to English now. And as we think about implementation, as we talk about data and frameworks and professional learning, let's not lose sight of that joy. Because at the end of the day, that's how we know we're succeeding. When our kids are engaged, when they're excited, when they're discovering the magic of reading. So here are some possible next steps for you after you finish listening to this. First, have the vulnerable conversation. What red flags are you seeing? What problems need to be named out loud? Second, dig into the why. Don't just implement new strategies, understand the research behind them. Give yourself and your team the gift of knowledge. Third, think alignment. Who else needs to be part of this conversation? How can you break down silos? And finally, look for the joy. Because when kids are engaged and excited, you know you're on the right track. And let's face it, the work Steve and Wendy shared isn't magic. It's not a program you can buy. It's people making intentional, research-based decisions together. It's courage, vulnerability, and strategic thinking. And if they can do it in Westmoreland, you can do it in your context too. Thanks for joining me for this bonus reflection. I'll see you Monday for another episode, a conversation with the one and only Pernille Ripp. Until then, keep making a difference. Take care. Schoolutions Teaching Strategies is created, produced, and edited by me, Olivia Wall. Thank you to my older son, Benjamin, who created the music playing in the background. You can follow and listen to Schoolutions wherever you get your podcasts, or subscribe to never miss an episode and watch on YouTube. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email at schoolutionspodcast@gmail.com. Let me know what resonated most with you from the conversation. What are you excited to try next? I'll look forward to seeing you next Monday for my Season 4, Episode 40 finale with Pernille Ripp. You can always count on the best research-backed coaching and teaching strategies that you can apply right away to better the lives of the children in your care. Stay tuned for next Friday's bonus episode, Friday the 13th, where I will reflect and share connections to what I learned from Pernille that week. I can't wait to see you then. Take care.